Hello everybody, Hedan here, and today I'll be covering the best checking accounts for 2020 after the economic crash. Now let's get into it. With the economic crash, the Fed has lowered interest rates. By the Fed lowering interest rates, it has rattled credit cards, high yield checking accounts, saving accounts, but there's still some, if you look hard enough, there's still some that have very high interest rates, and that's what we're looking for here because we want to make free money with zero risk. And today I'll be covering the best 5 accounts that I've found that have high yield interest rates. And that's a great way to make money with zero risk, and who doesn't like free money? After I cover all the accounts, then I will start breaking down which account is right for you depending on how much money you have in the bank. You might be thinking, who is giving away free money? Surely there has to be a catch, right? Well, not really. Like, what they're asking you is to just use their debit card to make the purchases that you're already making. So if you're at work or if you're out on the road and you decide to stop somewhere to get a sandwich or something, Coke, you just stop there. And instead of using your credit card, use your debit card. And then that will count as one of the transactions, and that will eventually meet the requirement and give you that free money. The good thing about these accounts is that you should just normally have a bank account, right? So you can just use these accounts and get all of the benefit without anything on the downside. Remember, zero risk investments, if you want to call it, because they're giving you free money. The range of the return on investment that you can get with these accounts, they range from 1 to even 4% APY, which is a lot when you're considering that some stocks dividends hover around that same range. And if you have those stock with dividends, you're still having the risk that if the stock goes down, your money goes down, and then the amount of dividend that you get from the account is affected because the dividend is derived from the total money you have on those stocks. At the end of the video, I'll be covering how much money I made in 2019 using this method. Now let's cut to the chase and get to the accounts. So the first account is LA Capital Credit Union, and they get 4.25% APY up to $3,000. Then after that, it drops to 2% from $3,000 to $10,000, and from that it drops a little bit more to 0.1% after $10,000. And I'll break down here what that means and how much of money you should expect to earn with this account as an example, and then I'll just keep going through the rest of the accounts. So what are the requirements for this one? Well, this one is pretty simple. It's just 20 transactions, no stated limit. So you can go and buy 20 Starbucks coffee and it will work. You can go buy 20 $1 water bottles and it will work. Or just buy 20 $1 gift cards to your Amazon account. And if you don't meet the requirements of 20 transactions, they're going to charge you an $8 fee, which is above average, but just make sure that you meet 20 transactions and the amount of money that you're getting from the account itself is well worth it. And keep in mind, this is not the best account, and we're going to start getting it better from here. And they do refund ATM. And I'm just not going to mention how much they refund from ATM. I'll just show it so we can keep this video succinct and just straight to the point. Now, some people might be uncomfortable having bank accounts where they cannot go to the actual bank itself. But trust me, I've been doing this for over 2 years, having these bank accounts, getting the free money, and it's no issue at all. Usually, even customer service is even better than the brick and mortar bank accounts that you can go and walk to. So trust me, it's very safe, and they're usually FDIC insured, or most of these accounts are usually credit unions. So they're to the same limit as the FDIC, which is $250,000. So the next one is Consumer Credit Union. And you can see that the interest rate is similar, but it has a higher cap on that interest rate. It gives 4.09% up to $10,000. And from that, it drops to 0.2% from $10,000 to $25,000. And from that, it drops to 0.1%. So it's really just good if you have up to $10,000 in it. And then if you have more money than that, you either get more accounts on it. Usually banks let you open more than one account with them, so you can have multiple, or just get a better account, as you'll see in the rest of the video. So the requirements on this one is a little bit more complicated. You get only 12 transactions, but then you need 1 direct deposit or 1 account debit. So for this account debit, I believe you can just do an external transfer from another account to it, and it will count as your direct deposit. Just make sure it's an external transfer from another bank account into it. Also, another requirement, and this one you will see that's pretty typical, is to sign up for e-statements. So who wants envelopes anyway? So that's a win-win. Check your statements online, save the planet, and meet the requirement. Now, the other requirement is a little bit hard to swallow, depending if you have good credit cards. The next requirement is to spend $8,000 with their credit card. And to me, that just doesn't make it worth it. But if you're still spending $1,000 with another credit card account, you can use this one. But they do have great interest rates, but I wouldn't recommend it. So the next account is Teacher Credit Federal Union. And you can notice that I skipped the first part of the name because I can't pronounce that. So this one is actually pretty good. It gives you 3.3% interest rate, which doesn't seem as high as the previous one, but the catch here is that it's 3.3 on $20,000, and that's a lot of money. So even though the other accounts have higher interest rates, this one will give you a lot more money. So this one, like the other ones, they make you do transactions. So this one is just only 15 transactions, which is pretty easy. They also require a direct deposit and to, again, sign up for e-statements. Who wants envelopes? And the other one, which is a little bit weird, but just to log into the bank account at least once per month, which is pretty easy to do. So when you keep in mind that AT&T is considered one of the best stocks to own in terms of dividend, that stock gives you 6%, around 6%, they changed, but last time I checked, they were around 6% APY per year. And if you look at their stocks have been gradually going down. So by having these checking accounts, you get up to 4%, even more depending on the bank account you have, risk-free, and then you get the guaranteed 4% on your money. You will have a steady stream of income that will not change unless the bank account changes their ruling. And they usually tell you 2 or 3 months in advance before they change the interest rates. And then, you can look at which one is the current best account for your requirements, or tune into this YouTube channel and I'll keep breaking down what are the best accounts depending on how the economy changes and there's a drastic change in the market. So the next one is Casa Sa, cash checking. So this one is 3% up to $25,000. And you might think, hey, the percentage is getting lower. Why do you think this one is better? It's because actually it's up to $25,000, and that means that you can get a lot more money having those extra percentages for those extra $5,000. And I'll show the breakdown at the end which account will be right for you depending on how much money you have. So this one is the other one of the requirements is transaction. This one is just only 12 transactions per month, but the catch on this one is that every transaction has to be of $5 or more. So if you like Starbucks, just make sure you buy the coffee with this debit card. Or buy $5 gift cards for your Amazon account. Also, the other requirement is to sign up for e-statements, but for this one, you need to actually review the e-statement. So make sure that if you get this account, you actually log in and review your e-statements to make sure that you meet that requirement. And also, you need to log into the bank account. But if you're reading your e-statements, you can do those two at the same time. So usually it's very hard to recommend T-Mobile for anything because their service is not the greatest, but they actually have a pretty decent checking account. Surprisingly, they have one of the best checking accounts if you have a decent amount of money. And why is that? Because they offer 4% for up to $3,000, which is not great, but then they give you 1% for any amount above that. And if you're one of those persons that have a lot of money in the bank, just sitting there, this account will be perfect because you're getting 1% on it. And previously, there were checking accounts that gave you a lot more than that for big accounts, but after this economic crash, that is hard to come by. So what are the requirements for this one? You could probably guess that be a qualifying member of T-Mobile, so you need to have one of their cell phone plans. Be registered for perks with T-Mobile plan and a minimum of $200 qualifying deposits. So just direct deposit a part of your check and you'll meet that requirement. So overall, I would recommend the Casa checking account because it has one of the highest interest rates for the money cap that it has. But there's a bonus one that is even better than all the ones before. And this one is Ultimate Checking. And as you can guess from the name, it is the best one. So with this one, you can get 4% up to $30,000. That is fantastic. I actually used to have an account with this exact same rate at the exact same cap, but after the economic crash, they changed the rate, so I'm just going to change to this one. And then after the $30,000, it's 0.05%, which is not a lot, but if you have more money than $30,000, just open another account, have two with them, and call it a day. And surprisingly, the requirements for this account are one of the easiest requirements. So it's the best one, easy requirements, no brainer. So the requirement for this one is just 15 transactions. They don't state a limit, so you can buy that $1 water bottle and direct deposit $500. So the only thing with this one is just to keep in mind that if you don't meet the requirements, there's a steep $10 fee. So just make sure that you get those 15 transactions and you direct deposit those $500. So the only catch for Guardian Ultimate Checking is that maybe not everybody will qualify. They state that you can only get this account if you're from this state, but I've had accounts like that in the past, and you can still apply if you're not from the state, and they usually accept you. So it's well worth a try if you can. So which account is best for you? So if you qualify for the Guardian Ultimate Checking, that's the one you should get, no brainer. But if you don't, then I'm gonna start breaking down which account is right for you, depending on how much money you have. So disclaimer for this $1,000 account, it might not be the best one because there's so many accounts out there that will be very good if you have up to $1,000, and it's kind of tricky determining which one is the best. So if you have $1,000, the best account you can have is the Capital Federal Credit Union. So for $1,000, you're only getting $42.50, but that's pretty decent because every dollar counts, and if you only have $1,000, that's a decent amount right there, or 4%. So for $5,000 to $10,000, the best account you can get is T-Mobile. That will get you around $200 to $400 per year, but not everybody has T-Mobile, so the next best bet will be the Teacher Federal Credit Union. And I'm still not going to try to say that full name. And that will be the best account you can get up to $20,000, and after that, Casa Checking will be the best one you can get for up to $40,000. And if you have more than $40,000, then start blending the account and get a better rate than just sticking with just one account. So as promised, here you can see how much money I made using this method, which is around $1,200. And it's pretty good considering that I didn't maximize the amount of money I could have made using this method because I was kind of busy and didn't meet the transactions a couple months. So here you can see that this method has a lot of potential, and the best thing of it is that it's zero risk and there you have all the liquidity in your portfolio. And as always, you need to have a diverse portfolio, not just depend on this method, but this is a very safe method to just make free money. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave in the comment box. I'll make sure to answer. And as always, anything is possible if you work hard enough.